Welcome to Acquired Taste with I'm your host Figure Eight, and my co-hosts are Koda B and Andrew Gillen. How are you guys doing?
Howdy. Doing great.
What's
Excited.
going on, man? How you doing?
Episode 1.
Episode 1. This sets the standard. It can only go up from
I'm
here.
sure. I was gonna say, I'm sure it will only go up from here.
Yeah. So I have some segments. We have some segments that we're gonna do. But unique to this episode, we'll do a tiny intro. We are 3 members of the largest rap group in the United States. We're based in Portland, Oregon, and yeah, we've been making music and consuming music for a long time. So we've been doing some new podcasts recently and wanted to start one where we could just discuss hip hop, general hip hop discussion from 3 white guys, because there's certainly not enough of that on the internet.
No, people are
just
just
what you
dying to hear
wanted.
our opinions.
Just
We
everything we're
do
dying
have a
for.
very diverse group, and other members will be guests, I hope, on the pod throughout. I think it would be cool to include other people in our little album listening club stuff. But let us handle it first. Let us figure out how to survive before we include
We're
other
working the
idiots.
kinks out.
Yeah, we're working the kinks out. We're not going to get less white throughout, but...
We'll certainly try.
Okay, so
Maybe
our
this
first...
summer, I might catch a slight tan.
I'm Olive. The Italian's coming out right now. Um, the first thing we're going to do is cover current events. I'm going to go to Hip Hop Heads Reddit and just read off some things that I can find, and we can discuss what we think. The pop-up concert is number 1. I assume we've all seen
Oh, yeah.
a bazillion footage from
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's hard not to.
Man, what a nail in a coffin.
Yeah, 5 times is crazy.
Normally, like a recorded concert like that's not something that I would really gravitate to, but that felt like I was at the concert. Just with the way it was edited and the shots they had, and just like I don't know, that was really fucking.
The memes about how the editor deserves an Emmy for the wop 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 cuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely like bonkers to watch. And like I was at Young Ned had a concert that night, and I was with him there, and just like every few minutes I would check my phone and see the updates of what was happening, and it was crazy, the real time footage constantly being posted. It was insane. It felt like this is for sure the biggest beef in hip hop history. I've never seen anything like it in all of my studies.
Yeah, and I feel like having it be like the most like modern one, you know, like take like Tupac and Biggie for example. The internet wasn't around, so like like the shit couldn't
Right.
travel as quickly. Or even Jay-Z and Nas, like I think I saw something that like the time between Ether and like Takeover or whatever was like a year and a half. And so when that weekend when all these diss tracks were dropping, it was literally like boom, 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 boom. And so I feel like just we've never experienced something like that, like just how rapid it was and how like the responses were and stuff like that. So it was just like I don't know, it really felt like a moment in hip hop history that like was cool to be, a part of.
It's starting to feel like Lord of the Rings, where like you're like, okay, it's over, and then it fades back into something like he's shooting the music video right
Yeah.
now. It's not
So I
done.
was just gonna say we're gonna probably get a music video in like 3 weeks where we're all just gonna take another walk over Drake's grave.
He's just continuing to prove his point. It's crazy that he was able to do that back to back to back to back to back. And people are still as hyped the last time as they were the first time.
Yeah.
That just proves the point too, just like how quickly he was able to just be like, hey, I'm doing here. Everyone's feeling me, all right? Everyone is here. LeBron is here.
I had shivers down my spine when Dr. Dre said, "I see dead people."
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, I was gonna say for me, I'm a huge NBA fan, so it was cool too to like see DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook on the stage and stuff, and like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
just a really cool
And
moment.
LeBron not able to go on stage.
Yeah, so and then that picture where everyone's like memeing it of being like, "No, you're not from LA. We are from Cleveland. You are not going up on that stage."
I I liked the as a smaller aside, a big thing for me that I thought was cool was the fact that his wife and kids were there, which he hadn't responded to any of those Drake things, but that felt like a response. And then the fact that Dave Free was the top person credited in the credits and he was the one walking him in and out. And after all Drake was saying about Dave, like it felt like even in subtle ways that weren't like flamboyant, he was still shitting on him and shitting on his songs, changing the lyrics to the "if you give Tupac's ring back, I'll give you a little respect."
Oh
I
yeah.
might give. Yeah.
The other big thing in the news right now, which will probably take up the rest of this segment, is the 2024 XXL freshman class was revealed yesterday or the day before.
Well, yeah. Let's get into that.
Um, I'm just gonna read all the names first, and then we can talk, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Big X the Plug, that Mexican OT, Lay Banks, Bossman D-Lo, Rich Amiri, Scarlip, Huncho. There's an X in there. Four Bats, Maya the Don, Cash Cobain, Skilla Baby, Southside. Oh, Southside's the producer for the beats.
Interesting. I honestly don't know a few of those names. Like,
Big X the Plug I know from Token. Token be playing a big,
oh,
big
okay.
dude. That Mexican OT had that song with Paul Wall.
I know Mexican OT.
Yeah.
He's the
He
one
be
that.
eating the booty like salad.
Yeah, it's hard to not see him.
I don't know Lay Banks. She is a female artist. I don't know Boss Man D-Lo. Rich Amiri, I feel like I've heard a song from, right? Do we know who that is?
The name sounds familiar. I can give it a Goog.
Yeah, Google him. Scarlip, I do know because JC was trying to do a song with her a couple years ago. Like they were talking about doing something.
You said Richard what?
Rich Amiri.
Oh, Rich Amir.
And then Huncho. I think it's probably just Huncho. Hunxho. I don't know him. Four Bats, I do know. That's Drake be working with him. I don't love his stuff. And I don't know Maya the Don, another female artist. It's cool to see.
All I know about this Rich Amir guy is we were born on the same day.
That's crazy.
Whoa! So he was born February 6, 2004. He's a year younger than me.
That's disgusting.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
What's his top song?
His top song that's just coming up is One Call.
I don't know.
Let me see. I don't want to play it because we'll get taken. But
Skilla Baby.
Yeah. See, I feel
Andrew,
like
do you know any of them?
I was just gonna say I feel like this is the first freshman class that is really showing my age because I do know that Mexican OT. He actually just or I guess Denzel Curry just released a song like 2 nights ago with him on it. And then I
Yep.
know he had like
Yep.
the crazy like Shake 45 or Shake 45 whatever in freestyle, and that's where I really started hearing about him and was like, okay, dude, this dude's pretty cool. And then I've heard of Cash Cobain. I couldn't tell you anything other than I've heard that name. Um, and yeah, outside of that, these are just a bunch of words that I've been seeing for the first time in
yeah,
this order.
I mean it makes sense, I guess. I kind of like that a freshman class is people that like. I mean, not saying like we're the most like well versed with new rappers, but it's
Yeah,
good
I'm
to
not-
have some people that we don't know.
I'm
like,
not super tapped into the underground. Like I do know a couple of these people, but there's a lot that I have no idea about. And like Four Bats, I only know of because of that Drake song that sounds super fucking weird. It's not a Wagwan Delilah either.
and it doesn't feel like a freshman class. It's like there's been like ones that were like, why is this the lineup?
Yeah. And then there's some where it's like just people that were like superstars, which is cool. But it didn't feel like they predicted it. Like the 2016 freshman class, it's hard to not know that those guys were all still going to be around.
Yeah,
I
sure.
do like when they make
Yeah.
like actual predictions. All right, we can move on from that. Let's move the fuck on.
Moving on.
What we
Fish
got
song.
next?
Every episode we are going to discuss one of our group's 400 songs that exists. I click shuffle on the page and I'll continue to do that even if it's terrible. I figure that's a good way to torture ourselves a little bit. This this week we got Welcome to America, which is on the last song on our debut album, The Fish Tank, featuring Mark Battles, produced by Makes Waves, and the fish on it are Tyree, Dirty Black, and myself. Um, yeah, did you give it a listen? I gave it a listen.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
listened.
I listened to it this morning right after. I mean, I've obviously listened to it beforehand, but gave it a listen right before we jumped on the pod, and like for me, it's cool because like I've listened to Mark Battles for a while. You know, he's not like heavy in my rotation or anything like that, but I have listened to him since he was pretty new, and so it's cool to
Yeah,
kind of
me and
see that
you
crossover with the
listened to
fish for
some of his
sure.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've probably been listening to him since like two, maybe 2015, 2016-ish area. So that's cool to, like I said, see
yeah.
that crossover with the fish.
Um, he the reason that kind of came together is he did a show at the Paris Theater, which is now defunct in Portland, and he hit Tyree up on Twitter and was like, "Hey, you and a couple of guys from your group should pull up to the show." And we stayed after and hung out with him for a couple of hours. And then I saw that he was just posting about doing features early in COVID, and I hit him up and because he followed me, and yeah, he did it for a pretty reasonable price. He sent it back relatively quickly, and I had that Makes Waves beat for a long time, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And then I recorded the hook and verse and sent it to Mark like a day or two after I sent him the money. And then yeah, I ended up inviting Dirty and Tyree over the day or two after we got the feature back. And I think Makes Waves mixed it too. He wanted to mix it too because it was on his beat. Um, yeah, that was a really cool thing that came together. And we had all not imagined that a music video would happen, and he just by circumstance was in Portland, and Swiggle had a song with him and had paid him to come out for a video. And we were literally just at the video shoot and asked him like, "Hey, if we give you a little extra money, will you go shoot this video over there with us?" And he was super cool, like really professional. Like he ran around and listened to the song for a while just to make sure he wouldn't fuck it up. Like he wasn't just like sure and then covered his mouth like I see a lot of paid artists do. I kicked over Koda's water like a
You
schmuck.
spilt my juggy.
I spilled his juggy. Yeah, it's also I would say potentially the only 100% serious song on that album. I don't think
That's what I was kind of thinking, and I feel
there's
like it makes sense to be the last track on the Fish album because it doesn't feel like it necessarily fully fits, because it is kind of more serious and less like weird and fishy. Um, and so like it kind of makes sense as an outro. Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of like we are goofy and dickheads, but just so you know, like we
We
give a shit.
we can be serious sometimes too. And we can give a shit sometimes.
Um, all right. Fuck you. All right. We're gonna move on to ranking an artist's albums. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT right now to give me a random hip hop artist, and if we don't know them like at all, I'll ask for another one. But if you know a couple of songs from each, oh my god, it said how about Kendrick Lamar? That's crazy,
No.
bro.
I guess it's on theme with current events, so kind of works out.
All right, I'm gonna do Kendrick
That fits
Lamar
right in.
album list. I'm
Are
gonna
we
exclude
are we
Untitled, Unmastered, and Section 80. Is that fair?
how many does that give us? Gives us Mr. Morale, Damn, To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid. I feel like we should eliminate Overly Dedicated, if anything, because Section 80 gives us five, so we can easily get a top five. You know what I mean?
All right, we'll do Section 80 then. Is Section 85? Is that?
Yeah, probably.
Sure, yeah, we can put it there. Just because I don't really have any thoughts on that
Rigor
album.
Mortis is tight, but I like it. It's there's nothing like wrong with it, but I didn't like his voice as much yet. He hadn't really found his groove as much.
I mean, I just pulled up the track list, and it's definitely got some songs that probably still hold up. Like ADHD is good. Ronald Reagan era is a dope song. Rigor Mortis. Um, I don't. It might not have cleared samples because it's not on here in my uh, Apple Music list. But the Spiteful Chant with Schoolboy Q is still a dope song.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, for for
Um,
for the sake of this, I'd still say I'd put that at number five.
I don't know if this is controversial, but I would probably put Damn next.
Hmm. It's a bit
I think
controversial.
I have Damn a little higher.
Actually,
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know.
All right,
Damn.
I've been outvoted. It seems. Well, what would you? Is it Good Kid, Mad City then? Don't tell me it's To Pimp a Butterfly.
I would say Good Kid, Mad City,
For
in my opinion.
for four at four? No. Okay, so that's where we're gonna disagree because I think I would definitely have Good Kid, Mad City at one.
At one,
I'd probably put
I
yeah.
see To Pimp a
I
Butterfly
just
or
think it
Mr.
like
Morale is up there for me.
here. I'm gonna just rip off what I think in order from one to five. I'd say Good Kid, Mad City, Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. Morale, Section 80. That
I'm
seems like
nah,
my
man. Say it again.
okay. Good Kid, Mad City, Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. Morale, Section 80.
You got to give me Mr. Morale before Damn,
See, okay,
because
I
I
was
could
sort of having
potentially
this
get behind
conversation.
that.
I feel like maybe like the music itself might change, but for me personally, like I feel like Damn's got like a special place in my heart because like I listened to that a ton when I was working for Enterprise and just driving cars around, and it's like I'd listen to music all day long, and that like just had that album on repeat.
We went to
And
that
then
tour,
like
right?
I was gonna say we went to his Damn tour, and then like a year
We went to
later
the Mr.
they
Morale
did
tour.
we did go to the Mr. Morale tour, but we also went to the TDE tour where like he hadn't released anything new from the time he was on the Damn tour to the section or to the
He
TDE
released
tour.
Untitled
So it was like
Unmastered because he did a couple songs from Untitled.
true. But like I don't know.
I
I
remember
guess
Levitate,
like
Levitate,
Damn
Levitate.
just yeah. Damn's definitely kind of probably his more like commercial poppy type of album. But like I said, it's just sort of got this like special place in my heart that I have a hard time like lowering it down the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree because me and you listened to that album a ton. Mr. Morale, I feel like it's getting shit on a little bit when it came out, but I like as a complete body of work, I think it matches To Pimp a Butterfly in conceptualism, but it is infinitely more listenable.
No, and that's fair. And that's I feel like Kendrick's for me at least. Kendrick is easily like Kendrick's in my top five all time. Like I don't know what spot he would get, but he's in my top five all time. So for me, that's like a tough artist to rank his albums and say like, oh, this one's better than the next because like I think everything he does is good. And so it's sort of one of those things where it's just it, like I could do it and I could be talked into different albums and different spots and stuff like that. But I feel like ultimately, like that's one of those things where it's like I have one A, B, C, D because it's like they're all kind of right on an equal playing field for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I might have even listened to Damn the most. I just think like as a creative output, he's just so um he's aggressively against normal, so it feels like the least Kendrick album. Not that it's like worse than the other ones. It just doesn't feel like I don't know, it's just hits, man.
Yeah,
Rap.
I totally agree with that, and that's what I was saying when it's like it's definitely his most poppy album where it feels like he's trying to makes not and not necessarily like overly like leaning into it or trying too hard, but like it feels like the album where he's like, okay, I need some radio hits. Like let me get some radio hits. And so you get DNA, you get humble, loyalty's
So
pretty
it's not your
catchy.
number one though.
No, no.
Good Kid, Mad City is your number one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be pretty hard to argue against too. Good Kid, Mad City. It's like even post like this whole beef with Drake, like I've definitely found myself listening to even more Kendrick than I normally do. And it's like, okay, if I'm just gonna throw on a random Kendrick song, it's like probably 9 times out of 10 I go to Good Kid, Mad City first, just because it's like I don't know. There's no skippable songs to me on that album. It's just like I don't know. You know, it's what 12 years old at this point, and I don't think it's ever dropped out of the Billboard 200. Like it just seems like it's gonna be one of those albums that holds up forever. Like I feel like our kids and shit are gonna be like, they're gonna know of Kendrick and they're gonna know of Good Kid, Mad City because I feel like it's just like a timeless classic.
Yeah, I never was like a huge like I'd never really listened to Kendrick like he wasn't like heavily in my rotation. Obviously, I knew of Kendrick, so I was thinking of the wrong album. Good Kid, Mad City is number one for me, just because those were the songs in here were the ones that I was listening to of Kendrick. I don't really have like
Yeah, how old were
strong
you in
opinions,
2012?
bro. 2012, like I wasn't listening to it until it was already out for like 5 years.
Yeah, I
So
was
it's
gonna say
like
he's like, how much younger than me are you?
like 6 years.
And Andrew, are you a year or 2 years older than me?
I'm 29.
Okay, so you're 2 years older than me. That's crazy. So you're even further away from this guy Koda B.
Yeah, and then so yeah, that'd probably be my number one. And then Damn, I did like, because that was the one that dropped when I was like, in school. It was very much a thing when he dropped that one. Everyone was listening to it.
Yeah, I
I
wasn't
like
in
that
high
one.
school. Did people give a shit about that in high school?
Yeah, no, it was, people were still like, it's crazy how kids in school are still like excited about like the next big artist that drops something. Like it's
Yeah, because I was in high school when Good Kid, Mad City dropped, and everybody was listening to it.
Damn, was it was good, but I wouldn't like. There's not a whole lot of songs on there that I was really like what Humble's on the album, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the one that I was like, okay, this
Mhm.
one's cool. So I wouldn't I would probably put that in three, and then
To Pimp a Butterfly was always my favorite. It is a hard listen though. It is like there are for sure parts of it that aren't just like, let me ride my bike and listen to this in my headphones.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit where, and I don't want to use the word criticize, but I feel like that's a little bit where, like, I guess more casual music listeners and stuff don't really think Kendrick's that good because it's like you just said, like you're not gonna pop in your headphones and like walk down the street and like jam out to it and stuff. Like it's definitely some heavier listening and like the subject matter can be like pretty heavy and pretty like hard to consume, I guess, at times. And so it's not, you know, it's not like Drake where it's like pretty much every song you put on could be played in a club or could be like, you could dance to it or head bob to it. Like there's definitely some more like intricacies and like layers to it where it's just different, but it's like still very good music. It's just not your like catchy, like quote unquote fun music.
sure.
Yeah, both lyrically and instrumentally.
To Pimp a Butterfly
Yeah.
is probably one I've heard the least.
Yeah, it doesn't just play.
Just because, so
All-
that's
all
where
right
it's like
does.
I don't really know where to rank that one. I would put Mr. Morale in my number two. So like I got like a top three. The other ones I haven't listened to like enough to really be able to like say. I guess if it was just like out of ones I would listen or have listened to, um,
Yeah, I like Mr. Morale a lot. I would put it
I
pretty
liked
high.
it a lot. Yeah, it had a couple songs too that are still in the rotation that I listen to.
Can Not Like Us just be number one?
Yeah.
That's his number one album.
I mean,
What
yeah, he performed it five
what's
times, so it's pretty much an album.
what's really funny about that, and I kind of hope it does happen, is like I just saw the other day that it's officially like eligible to win Grammys, and I hope it wins a Grammy because then Drake's like Kendrick just opened his mouth, someone give him a Grammy right now lyric just becomes the funniest fucking thing possible. And I was telling my friend, I was like, I hope if that does win, I hope he goes up there and like kind of Andre 3Ks it, where he's like, the South got something to say. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope Kendrick goes up on stage and is like, man, I don't know. It just seems like I open my mouth and I win one of these, and then walks off stage.
that's that's crazy to be handed a trophy for calling a man a pedophile. This is awesome. This is
It would be the funniest moment ever, I feel like.
yeah, he didn't even have to slap him like Will Smith, you know what I mean? He did it fair and square and just
Yeah.
pissed on a man.
Just,
And
and then continued to piss on it.
we could discuss this guy Eminem seems like he's brewing to drop an album. Houdini came out a couple weeks ago. His highest charting song in quite some time. It just entered the rock charts and alternative charts as well.
Sweet.
I don't.
How?
It's his first song to enter alternative charts since "Lose Yourself," I believe. My Name Is and the Real Slim Shady entered alternative charts.
I'm about to reach in my bag, bruh.
And then it
That's
entered
rock.
charts because it sampled "Abracadabra"
Oh, okay.
by the
That makes sense.
Steve Miller Band. What do you guys think of it?
I like it. Was fun. It's like
I mean,
a
my
fun song.
yeah, that was it. It's definitely grown on me, is what I will say. Like the first listen to it, I was like, I don't know. I was like,
Yeah,
at the very least, it was
I
fun.
said the same
You know, it
thing.
was fun.
Uh, but then after I watched the video, I liked it more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's the
first
same
time
for
I
me.
heard
Like,
it
what?
was the music video, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is fun. I like it. He's just having fun with it. It's just goofy. It's like, but it's not really like it's not a great song, but it's like,
It's a
it's
good
fun.
time.
It
Yeah.
reminds you of like the old shit he was doing. He does the homage to himself by bringing
He's been
himself.
homaging himself for
Yeah,
like 12 years
he's
now.
going crazy with it.
Since he dyed his hair blonde for the Marshall Mathers LP2, it feels like he spent 10 years just calling back to himself.
He's like, "Hey, remember when I did that? That was pretty cool, right?"
You guys liked me then.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I also thought the responses were funny of like, kind of the like TikTok generation and stuff being like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's saying these things. That's so offensive." Like, blah blah blah. And it's just like, buddy, you you don't even know.
Yeah,
Like,
it got
listen to
the
Kim real
memes
quick and
of
then tell me
of
that's offensive.
people the the memes of people being like, "This Eminem song is fun. I should check out the rest of his discography." And it like cuts to them listening to like Rain Man or Big Weenie and they're just looking down at the ground.
Yeah. But
um
it also got me like re-listening to Eminem again, like kind of the same as Fig. Like I've grown up an Eminem fan. Like he's in my top five. Like even as he's kind of started to decline with recent work and stuff, like I still like hold him very highly and stuff. Um, and so it got me pulling up different songs and stuff, and so that's been cool to like kind of just like check out those songs that I've always listened to and stuff again.
Eminem is just someone that everyone just like bases his like height, like obviously like he's like one of the best selling, if not the best selling art or like rappers, but like they, even if he makes a bad song, people just judge him on his ability that he can rap. He's like, they're like, that song sucked, but he's good at rapping. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
what about the song?
he I still feel like he's only competing with himself. Um like everyone was surprised I saw that it went number 2 and I was not remotely surprised. Like it's much better than recent singles and it hit all the notes. Let me put a bunch of cameos, let me reference myself, let me be offensive, let me make fun of myself, all the staples. And 21 years I believe is when something's considered vintage or when nostalgia hits scientifically, and he just hit that. Like this Without Me just hit that. So
Same.
it's just really
Yeah.
good timing and really good execution. I think his album is going to be interesting to see if it's all like that or if we get a Rihanna feature in Skylar Grey, or if he puts. I miss the days of him just working with the artists on his label. Like I know Cassius and Bobby Creekwater and 50 Cent and like all those people aren't on the label anymore, or maybe didn't even get an album out on the label. But it was always weird to me. There was never like a Slaughterhouse feature on his album, a Yellow Wolf feature on his album, like it was before. Like he'd be on everybody's album, but like it'd be tight to see West Side Boogie on his album.
Oh, that'd be tight. Yeah.
I mean, Royce is always
Yeah, it
there.
seems sort of. I was gonna say it seems like Royce makes appearances on a lot of his albums. I mean, music to be murdered by did have a, or at least I feel like I remember it having a decent amount of features. I know like Juice World's on it, right?
Yeah,
Anderson
but not
Paak's
his
on that
own
album.
artist. Shady
Oh
Records
yeah, never mind. I
artist.
see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, I
Like
see what you're
he's
saying. Never
got
mind.
Grip, Easy Mill, and West Side Boogie right now. I don't think Griselda is on Shady anymore. Um, but yeah, it would be cool to see his continued efforts to embrace the younger generation, at least the ones that haven't fucked him off. Um,
For sure.
Young Ma, the Juice World, the Anderson Paak. I mean, Anderson Paak's on Aftermath, but the general feeling of reaching out to younger people on the last couple of albums. I mean, Fresher was a weird choice from Revival. I remember that being like a dude that made a song with Designer. That's all I knew him as. It just seems like if he hears something he likes, he does reach out. I saw Easy Mill in an interview saying that he just released a song with A Boogie with the Hoodie, and they were like, "How did that come together?" And he was like, "Eminem orchestrated that." People think he's not tapped into newer artists really, but he does listen. So I'm excited to see what comes of that. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel
I'm,
like
I'm
he
really excited
as
for the album
he's.
too. And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead, Coda. Oh, all right. I
It's
was gonna
hard.
say
We keep.
I'm excited for the album.
Damn it! The delay.
Yeah. And like Fig said, like people being surprised at how I think he said it went number two or whatever, and people being surprised by that. And like I also wasn't surprised because I feel like Eminem's one of those artists where, obviously he's had a pretty big rollout for this album, um, and stuff like that. But I feel like he's an artist that with literally no hinting or no rollout process could drop and it's the song or that album is gonna chart just because it's him a fucking nim. Like, you know.
yeah, and he
And
actually
so
had a rollout this time.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like he did, but like I feel like he's an artist of his stature, he's an artist like he doesn't need to do that stuff because good, bad, or otherwise, like people are gonna tune in and check it out because it's Eminem. And so,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah, he could do a pop-up show and have it
that'd be
crazy
great.
like Kendrick.
The Detroit pop-up show.
yeah.
He does the Benzino diss or whatever.
That's crazy.
Does it 5 times in a row.
Doomsday Part 2, 5 times. How can I go at something he doesn't have? Um,
Can't touch his hands over
Dude.
his head doing jumping jacks or something like that. It's
what's
crazy.
the opposite of a giraffe?
Or we can talk about the albums that we yeah.
All right, let's run through it. I totally forgot.
Who wants to start out?
I assigned Coda Low End Theory from Tribe Called Quest. What did you think, Coda B?
I loved it. I obviously going back and listening to it, I'm like, okay, yeah, these are songs I've absolutely heard. But I really love. I feel like we nowadays like instrumentals are just over complicated, and we have so much like processing that happens that it was nice to hear just raw samples and just the bass lines on that. I really love, like, not just obviously the vocalists are great too, but I really like I mean, it's a good name for the album, Low End Theory. The lows, it was great.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was just butts. Like, it's a play on butts, I feel like,
sure.
a little bit.
There's
But
probably some butts in there.
as a producer, you're very aware of what the lows are and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's not like we have like crazy 808s now with like an over process. Like they had that stuff back then, or not even in nothing close to what we have now. But like just the just the sampling on it is amazing. Let's see, my favorite song on there was probably what is it, vibes and stuff. I think that's what it's called. I loved that one. The instrumental on that one was great. And I one thing I uh, appreciate about the album is that I can respect that kind of what we do is like not every song is jam packed with the members of their group. It's
Yep.
one song will just be one vocalist, and then sometimes they'll jump in with both of them.
And sometimes it's just doing ad libs or
Yeah, just
random.
ad
Yeah,
libs,
yeah,
and like Q-Tip produced like most of the beats on that one, I think, if
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not mistaken. And that, yeah, it was good to go back and listen to. I really liked that.
Um, Coda, would you sign Andrew?
I signed him The Sun's Tirade by Isaiah Rashad,
Yep. And
I believe.
so I had heard this album before. I know we were kind of try to find out albums that each other hadn't heard yet, but probably listened to this, shoot, honestly probably only 2 or 3 times, and probably pretty close to when it came out. So it was cool to revisit it and stuff. And I feel like some of the standout songs to me were Free Lunch. It's one of like the second or third song that stood out. Um,
Oh, yeah.
I also
Yeah,
really
that's a
liked the
great
song
one.
with Kendrick. The song with J Rock was
Oh, I
cool.
forgot that's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he's
and
on
I
TDE.
don't know who this yeah, I don't know who this Hugh Augustine is, but he's on this song with J Rock, and I really liked his feature. I thought that was one of the kind of a standout moment to me. It was like, I had my headphones in and I was just kind of wandering around the apartment, listening and stuff, and I heard his verse come up, and I was like, I had to like pause and pull my phone out and see what it was, and then take a quick note down because I was like, oh, this is dope. Um, and then probably my other standout one was the Stuck in the Mud with SZA. One, I thought her backing vocals were pretty cool. And then about halfway through the song, there's a beat switch that is really dope. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you weren't like paying attention to the track listing and stuff, you'd think it's a new song because it kind of like fades out and then the beat switches and it comes in. But the second half of that song was honestly probably my favorite moment in the album as a whole. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it overall. I feel like I said, I haven't really listened to this one a ton. When it comes
It,
to
it
Isaiah
came out like
Rashad, I'm usually pulling up
2016.
Sylvia. Yeah, it did,
Oh, yeah,
2016.
yeah,
But I feel like Sylvia demo is really the one that I kind of go to with Isaiah Rashad. But I feel like he's dope because he's obviously part of TD, and I think their whole um, label's really dope. Has a lot of great artists, but I feel like he's kind of one of the ones that doesn't get mentioned as much, just because he's not Kendrick Lamar or J Rock or Absol or Schoolboy Q and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it, and I feel like it's definitely inspired me to maybe listen to a little bit more of him and stuff, and pull up his other projects and stuff, and give them a listen to, since I haven't in a while.
yeah. I forgot the entire label was on that album. I'm gonna go back and listen to some of those too. Um, Andrew, what'd you give me?
Late Night Special by Kirk Knight.
Yep, I hadn't heard this before. I remember you listening to Kirk Knight, and there was somebody else, right? Nick Caution. Is that a thing?
Yeah, so Joey Badass is kind of one of those, like, I don't know. I don't want to say influential because it's not like I'm rapping or making a ton of music on my own, but I felt like really I really gravitated to him when I was younger. And so like that whole pro era group, with Kirk Knight as being one of their kind of more so a producer, but he can also rap, and Nick Caution and stuff. You know, I really liked that group. And so when we were talking about doing this pod, I had just been kind of listening
I
to
remember
music.
Nick at Night.
Yeah, Nick at Night's really cool. That's one I
I
actually still pull
remember
up and
I
listen to
listened to
every
that.
once in a while.
But
Yeah.
I hadn't heard this before, and I really liked "Heaven Is for Real." The hook kind of dragged on a little long for me, but the verses and like the way he layered his vocals was super tight. That Broke Land had a resident medieval bar. That was crazy, dog. I had to like write that down. Like I had to run it back and make sure that I heard Resident Evil at first just because it was quick and rewound it, and then I realized he said Resident Medieval and was like, man,
Damn.
that's one of those. Joey Badass's feature was super super dope. Scorpio was probably my favorite song.
Okay, yeah.
It was cool to see Mick Jenkins. Me and Stilo did a song with Mick Jenkins that
Yeah, he's cool.
never
I
came
like
out,
Mick Jenkins.
but it was cool to see
Yeah,
him.
I
on
really
there.
like Mick Jenkins too.
My favorite verse on the album though was from No Name. That was awesome. I wasn't prepared for her to appear, and I've always liked her a lot. And I've never really heard her rap like that. It was a little more intense than normal.
You know, this might be the album that I discovered No Name through, to be honest.
Oh
I'm
wow.
not sure, 100% sure on that, but I remember like around this same time when that Pro Era group was kind of probably at their height. This is sort of that 2015, 2017 range is probably when Pro Era was really like at the height of their powers. I feel like since then, you know, Joey's still going to be kind of the forefront and the most popular, but I feel like even he's kind of um, focused a little bit more on his acting career as opposed to his music career. But I feel like, you know, that was kind of the height of it. And so I feel like I discovered a lot of different artists through kind of Joey and Pro Era in general.
Yeah, the Beast Coast definitely has winded down. Flatbush Zombies, the Underachievers, Pro Era. I mean, even ASAP Mob.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a lot of people doing a lot of different stuff, which is strange because it was such a big movement for such a long time. All right, now we can wrap it
Now
up.
we can wrap it up. That was funny. That was gonna be
Yeah.
one of my suggestions for the name of the podcast is Wrap It Up.
Oh man, that's pretty good.
And now you just said Wrap It
Yeah.
Up, so it's too late. We already decided.
Welcome to Wrap It Up. We're gonna start over right now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that was a good
Run it
first
back.
episode. I had my list scrolled down a little bit, so I totally didn't even see the album club. Thank you guys for reminding me. That's the main point of it. That's the main thing we're gonna do every single time.
Consistent.
Yeah, so we'll pick some new albums for each other for the next time we do this next week, and I'm not sure how this is gonna come out or when it's gonna come out, but it is gonna come out, and if you're hearing it, that means it came out properly. So shout out to us.
Let us know. Leave a comment down below. Oh, wait, you can't comment on Spotify. If
Leave
you're
a
on
review.
YouTube,
Leave us 5 stars. You're supposed to do an outro at the end of every episode. Andrew, how are they supposed to go? Leave 5 stars, like,
I don't know.
subscribe.
Usually,
serenade us, Andrew.
yeah, usually people
Start
just
singing.
say, you know, remember to do all that important stuff, like, subscribe, whatever you're listening on, leave a review if you can. Tell your friends about it. And yeah,
Join us next week
this is
when
the
we get
Acquired
Kendrick
Taste
Lamar.
podcast.
Acquired Taste.
Yeah,
If this is the
featured
first one you're
guest.
listening to, it most likely is. Thank you. Outro music will start playing now.
I may or may not have thrown a